Hello friends, welcome to AQYS YouTube channel. This session is a part of our quick revision series Prelims Atulya. In today's session, we'll study about biodiversity. We are starting environment and ecology today. So I have picked some topics which have been in the news, and these topics are very crucial and can be asked in your upcoming prelims. So let's get started. Let's try to analyze, let's try to understand these important topics which have been in the news in the recent times. So first, let's talk about super year for biodiversity. See, what is this super year? Let's try to understand this. See, this super year, it is a time period between 2010 to 2020. Now here you have to remember, in 2010, a particular plan, we call it strategic plan, it was launched in 2010. So this plan, it is related to conservation of biodiversity, and it was launched in 2010. Now this plan was launched along with 20 EC biodiversity targets. Okay, now this particular plan, it has ended in 2020. Okay, so that's why from 2010 to 2020 we are calling it super year for biodiversity. Now, as I said, that 20 EC biodiversity targets, these were adopted in 2010. Okay, so these were adopted by the parties to CBD. Now you must know about CBD as well, that CBD, it is a legally binding treaty. Okay, and it came into force in 1993, although it was signed in 1992, but it came into force in 1993. So remember, it is a legally binding treaty, and parties to the CBD, they adopted these 20 EC biodiversity targets. Okay, now as far as the implementation is concerned, you must remember that nations, they have formed their own national targets. Like India has formed 12 national targets on the lines of 20 EC biodiversity targets. Now one more fact you must know, that under CBD there are some protocols, and two important protocols, Nagoya and Cartagena. These are very important. There might be a question in your prelims. Remember, Cartagena protocol, it is related to living modified organisms, and Nagoya protocol, it is related to the equitable sharing of benefits arising out of genetic resources. So just have little idea about these two protocols, Cartagena and Nagoya protocol. This is very important and can be asked in your prelims. So as I said, that this particular plan, it has ended in 2020. That's why we are calling it super year for biodiversity. I hope you must have understood. Now these are the icons of all EC targets. You can pause the video and you can have a glance at these EC biodiversity targets. Remember, these are 20 targets, and on the lines of these targets we have 12 national targets. Okay, now let's talk about global biodiversity outlook report. See, in the past we have seen that UPSC has asked questions on the basis of reports. That's why reports become very important for your upcoming prelims. Okay, so first remember that global biodiversity outlook report, it is published by CBD, Convention on Biological Diversity. Okay, so it was the 5th report. This fact is also important. Now, as we discussed, that in 2010, this particular plan, which is related to EC targets, it was launched in 2010, then it ended in 2020. So what progress we have made regarding these targets, it has been included in this report. This report gives the idea what progress we have made regarding these targets. And I have an astonishing fact for you, that at the global level, none of the 20 targets have been fully achieved, and this becomes important for your upcoming prelims. It might be asked, it might be one of the statements in your prelims questions. Remember, at the global level, none of the 20 targets have been achieved. Only 6 targets have been partially achieved. Okay, this is also important. Now let's talk about International Day of Biodiversity. So just remember, 22nd May, it has been declared as International Day of Biodiversity. Now why 22nd of May? Because on May 22nd, 1992, CBD was adopted. So in order to commemorate this thing, 22nd May, it has been declared as International Day of Biodiversity. Okay, now few initiatives were launched by India on this particular day. So these initiatives are also important. I have included these initiatives. You can take a look. Okay, now let's move forward. Let's talk about IUCN. See, IUCN, we know that it is world's oldest environment organization. And here you have to understand that under IUCN, we have one red list. See, this red list, it is a repository of animal species, plant species, and this particular list, it gives the idea about the conservation status of these species. So now remember that this particular list, it has been updated. So there have been some updates. I have included these updates in the slide. You can take a look. Okay, these updates are important because we have seen that in UPSC prelims, questions are being asked from the conservation status of particular species. So UPSC has been asking questions on the basis of conservation status. So you must be aware of the latest updates regarding red list. Okay, because the conservation status, it keeps changing, and you must be aware of these changes. Now let's talk about the Tiger Status Report 2010. Okay, so this report, this survey was released, and in accordance with this survey, number of tigers have risen. Okay, so earlier in 2014, the number of tigers were 2,226. Now the number has reached 2,967. Okay, and in accordance with this survey, Madhya Pradesh has the maximum number of tigers, followed by Karnataka. So this fact is also very, very important. Okay, so India hosts 70% of the world's tigers. Okay, but from the prelims perspective, two facts are very, very important. These facts are related to the technologies which were used in this survey, in this assessment. So these technologies are M stripes and cat rat. Just remember, these two technologies are very, very important and can be asked. In fact, in 2017, question was asked on M stripes. Okay, so we will discuss this question as well. This is the question. So this question was asked in 2017. It is related to M stripes. So the term M stripes is sometimes seen in the news in the context of, first is captive breeding of wild fauna, B, maintenance of tiger reserve, C, indigenous satellite navigation system, D, security of national highways. And the answer to this question, you can try answering this question. You can pause the video. Okay, so try to answer. So the answer is going to be maintenance of tiger reserve. Okay, so another technology which was in the news, it was cat rat. Okay, for automated segregation of camera trap photographs to species. Okay, so UPSC has already asked question on M stripes. Now there might be a possibility that UPSC might ask the question on the basis of cat rat. Okay, so all these facts I wanted to discuss in today's session. If you have liked it, if you have found it useful, you can subscribe our YouTube channel for more such videos, and you can follow our social media platforms for daily current affairs content. So that's all for today's session. Keep working hard. All the best for the prelims. Thank you very much. Take care.